Hey guys, so for this week I'm making another vlog, and this fiasco is rather interesting. Some background information: this is my phone. It's an HTC like 1V, I think it's called, and this little part right here, it's like the back kind of, it comes off like this, and it's not hard to take off or anything, and then it just slides right back on. So last Friday, I went to class at 8. I know, 8 a.m.'s on Friday. Sucks. Oh well. So I went to class, and then immediately after class, I always have breakfast with one of my friends because neither of us have class for like an hour and a half. So I left class, and I was talking to one of my classmates, and I walked out of the building, and I walked kind of to like from North Campus to like Central Campus, and I had gotten a picture while I was in class from one of my friends, and I was texting her back, laughing at it because it was a funny picture, and that was at 9:19 a.m., and I got to the restaurant where we were having breakfast, and I was going to forward that picture to my mom because it was a picture from when we were in grade school, and it was funny. So at 9:29, I went to forward the picture, and it wouldn't let me. And I was like, oh, that's weird, whatever. And I was telling my friend that I had noticed in class the back of my phone was missing, but I didn't have time to look for it, or I didn't think to look for it or anything. So I was just like, oh, whatever, I'll just look on Amazon for another back. So I then have, on Fridays, I have 3 classes back to back to back, so I don't really have any time. And I got to class, my first class, and it's in like a basement, and it said I had no service on my phone. I was like, okay, whatever, I'm in the basement, like that happens. So I went to my next class, and I was sitting there, and I realized like I still didn't have any service. I was like, this is really weird, but again, I'm in class, like not a big deal, I'm not going to worry about it. So then by my third class, I was like really starting to get worried. So in the past, it's happened that my mom has our bill plan like on automatic pay, so she can just just come straight out of her credit card. But sometimes there's glitches in it, and they're like, oh, you didn't pay your bill, so they turn off all our phones. So I thought, okay, maybe that's what's happening. And I went on Facebook and like messaged my whole family, and I was like, hey guys, like, is your phones working, like what's going on? And my brother responded immediately. He was like, yeah, my phone's fine. And I was like, okay, so that's not the problem, so what is the problem? So I started looking. After class, I went back to my dorm and started looking up information about my phone, and it turns out this little piece actually holds the antenna for the entire phone. And the whole day I was receiving messages, but I couldn't send them. So I was like trying to figure out what was going on, but it turns out that this back part is the antenna. So I lost the antenna to my phone. So I was like, okay, that sucks, but I'm not really sure where it is. So maybe I can go on Amazon and buy a new one, or like go to HTC's website. Well, this is kind of an old phone, so none of those were options. The only thing I could find was a $600 antenna like kit, so you could actually like put the wires in and then like get the little antenna like they used to have like in the 90s and stuff. I guess they didn't have cell phones in the 90s, but back when cell phones were new, like they had like the big antennas, and I could actually make one for $600. I was like, okay, well this phone wasn't even $600, so I'm not gonna do that. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna retrace my steps. So I go back to the building that my class was in, and I started looking around. I didn't see anything, and I was just going to wait outside the classroom for them to get out so I could go in the classroom and look where my seat was. But they weren't leaving, and they weren't leaving, so I was like, okay, whatever. So I went back, and I walked to the restaurant, and the whole time I'm walking, I'm, like, looking at the sidewalk, like, scaling every inch, trying to find, like, if my phone, like, the back could be anywhere. And I walked to the restaurant, looked around, it was a creep. I probably scared this girl sitting at the table because I was like looking under her table like, hey, you see like a phone back down there? Wasn't there. And I ran into another one of my friends there, so he and I walked back to the building where I had my first class, and I just decided to wait it out. I was like, all right, I'm just going to wait till that class gets out, and then I'll go in the room and check it out. But while I was waiting, I noticed my phone had, like, it said I was roaming, which was a step up from no service. So I was like, okay, like, we're making some progress here. And I looked, and I realized all the texts throughout the day I'd been trying to send had just sent. So I was like, okay, this is really weird. Like, I'm standing here, and all of a sudden my texts are sending. So what's going on? So I started walking around, and I realized as I was like looking at my phone, watching the bars, and as I would walk, it would either get more or less. So I was like, okay, my phone must be picking up the signal of the antenna wherever it is, so I'm close. So I start walking around the building, like all up in my phone, like staring at the floor, like checking my bars, like looking to see if I'm getting like hot or cold, and it was just like a big game. And this is Friday at 4 o'clock, and I'm walking down this stairwell. And everyone's like pushing and shoving because, I mean, it's Friday, 4 o'clock. Everyone wants to go home and be done for the weekend. And I'm like walking so slow, like checking every step I'm walking on, like really meticulously, just like looking for my phone. And I get to the bottom step and I have full bars. I'm like, all right, where is it? I'm like Sherlock Holmes in this. I'm looking for it. I'm walking around. I'm still looking. And like it's a dark gray, and like the floor is dark gray, so it's by a chance of luck I found it. And I look over, and like in the corner it was sitting there, and I just got so happy. Like I just threw it back on, and I was like, yes, like I finally found it. I'm good to go. And it was really awesome. But yeah, that was my fiasco for this week. I was really actually pretty embarrassed having to walk around really slowly, and I probably looked like an idiot just like staring at the floor as I walked, but I really needed to find the back to my phone because it was going to be useless. And I actually just upgraded to my first smartphone. I have joined the smartphone family. I had a dinosaur phone for the longest time, but I've finally reached the 21st century. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this fiasco. I was definitely really upset about it when it first happened, but after I solved it, I did feel like a detective. So maybe that's my real calling. I should quit business school and become a detective. I could do that. That works. Okay, well, that's all. So I will see you later for my next post. Bye.